The 10 best epics to build out in 2025. Let's go find out who. Hey there guys, it's Ryan Raids and welcome to the video. Guys, in today's video what we're going to be doing is giving you the 10 best epics you should be building out if you pick them up early on in the game. So yeah, let's jump straight into it. Right then, let's kick this off. And the first one is probably the best epic in the game, and we're going to the Dwarves faction, and that is our man Geomancer. So what's Geomancer do? He's got attacks all enemies on his A1 as a 30% chance of placing a decreased accuracy. On his A2 he removes all buffs from a target enemy, then attacks them. Steals all buffs if the target is under a HP burn placed by this champion, then reduces the cooldown of quicksand grass by 2 turns if the target is killed by this skill whilst under a HP burn. So his quicksand grasp is this one here, is A3, fully depletes the target's turn meter, fills this champion's turn meter by the amount the target loses, then has a 75% chance of placing a HP burn and a 25% weaken for 3 turns. And this is where he excels, is in his passive. So he decreases the damage all allies receive by 15% and deflects that damage onto the enemy under a HP burn. So yeah, this is where he gets most of his damage from. Hold up there guys, click the link in the description right now to get the epic champion Uugo for free, as well as 2 more amazing free epics as you level up. Here are the exact steps you need to follow. Step 1, log out of Plarium Play on the PC and uninstall. Step 2, click the link in the description and register with a brand new email. Step 3, launch raid and complete the tutorial. Step 4, go to your inbox and claim your first champion. Here we go. You'll find Uugo here, as well as Tagoar and Rector Drath as you level out your account. If you've been watching the free-to-play series that I've been involved in, you'll know how good these epics really are. Then use the promo code SUPREME6 to get yourself a crazy Void Legendary in Supreme Gaelic. So get yourself an amazing start in Raid Shadow Legends by clicking on the link and following the steps. So where does Geomancer excel? So on the HAVES website he is rated 4.5 out of 5, which is extremely high for an epic champion, and he excels. He's got 5-star for Clan Boss, Hydra, Iron Twins, Spider, the Dreadhorn boss in Doom Tower, Frost Spider. He is literally superior everywhere apart from Fire Knight and the Magma Dragon. He's got 4.5 stars for Sand Devil, 4.5 stars for Fire Knight, Ice Golem Hard, the Scarab King, Never Spider. So yeah, you can literally use this guy everywhere apart from Fire Knight Hard and the Magma Dragon. So yeah, Faction Wars, damage, godlike, protection and support legendary, crowd control great, turn meter control legendary. So yeah, he's just an absolute beast of an epic. So if you pick him up earlier on, you need to build this guy out ASAP. So next up on the list, we are heading to the Skinwalkers, and it is Akemtum. He is a proper decent little champion, this one. Void epic. So what's he get up to? On his A1, he attacks one enemy 3 times. Each of those hits has a 40% chance of placing a poison debuff for 2 turns. Books up to a 50% chance if the target is under a hex debuff. Each hit also has a 40% chance of applying a debuff spread, taking 1 random debuff from the target and placing it on all enemies. Not a bad A1. A2 attacks all enemies 3 times, so a triple hitter AoE. Each hit has a 60% chance of increasing the duration of any hex debuffs. If the enemies are not under hex, each hit has a 60% chance, books up to a 75% chance of placing a hex debuff for 2 turns. Great for Hydra. He only got 2 skills and then he's got a passive. Has an 80% chance of inflicting damage from 1 poison debuff to enemies under a hex debuff whenever their allies receive damage from poison debuffs. So then what's he got? He's got an aura of speed in all battles by 18%. So where would you be using Akemtum? So again, Akemtum is rated 4.5 out of 5 by the HAVES website, and you can use Akemtum in Clan Boss. He's got 5 stars, 4.5 stars for Hydra, 4 stars for Doom Tower. He's no good at Amius, Iron Twins, Sand Devil, Shogun's Grove, and then he's pretty good in a majority of the dungeons. So 5-star Dragon, Spider, hard mode, Dragon, Ice Golem, Fire Knight in normal. So no good for Ice Golem hard mode. He's only got 2 stars, but he's got 3 stars for Fire Knight. Then in Doom Tower, he is pretty weak. So 1 star for most of the bosses, half star for the Dreadhorn. He could probably be used against the Scarab and the Eternal Dragon. And then obviously wave-based content. So yeah, great epic to pick up if you get him earlier on. Even if you get him later on, actually. There's some crazy teams of him about. Next up on the list, we are heading to the High Elves faction, and that champion is Royal Guard. If you pick Royal Guard up early, make sure you build him out. He's an OG, but still top tier. So what's he do? His A1, he attacks one enemy, has a 50% chance of placing a 60% decreased defense for 2 turns. His A2 attacks all enemy, damage increases according to enemy max HP. So this scales off attack and enemy max HP. So this absolutely smacks against bosses. And then his A3 attacks 4 times at random. Each hit has a 60% chance of placing a 30% decreased speed debuff for 2 turns. Each hit also has a 60% chance of decreasing the target's turn meter by 25%. And then he also brings attack aura by 35% for all allies. So yeah, another great epic champion. So where am I going to be using Royal Guard within the game? So the Hell Hades website rates Royal Guard 4 out of 5 for an epic, which is still extremely high. And where would you use him? He's got pretty solid ratings across the board. So he's got 3 stars in Clan Boss, 4 in Hydra, 4 in Iron Twins, 4 in the Phantom Shogun Grove, got 3 for Sand Devil, Doom Tower and Amius. So he's pretty solid everywhere. Dungeons, absolute beast. 5 for Spider, 5 for Fire Knight, 5 for Dragon, 4.5 for Ice Golem. I don't know why he gets reduced by half a star on Ice Golem. Then hard mode dungeons, 5 star for Spider. Not so great for Fire Knight hard. Dragon and Ice Golem still can be used. And then Doom Tower bosses, 4 star for Magma Dragon, 3 star for Nether Spider, 3.5 stars for Celestial Griffin. Not so great for the Dreadhorn, not great for the Scarab King, but then 4.5 for Frost Spider, 5 for Dark Fae, and Eternal Dragon 4 star. So yeah, he can be pretty much used across the board. There's just a few areas he'll be a bit iffy. So like Dreadhorn, Scarab King, maybe Fire Knight hard, you wouldn't want to take him in, but he does a job absolutely everywhere. So yeah, great champion if you pick him up earlier on, mid-game, build him out straight away. So where are we off to next? We are headed to the Undead Hordes, and that champion is Vogoth. Vogoth is an absolute tank of an epic. So is A1, so he attacks one enemy 3 times. Each hit has a 30% chance of increasing the duration of a random debuff by 1 turn, books up to a 40% chance. His A2 attacks all enemies. He's got a 60% chance, books up to a 75% chance of placing a provoke debuffs on all enemies for a turn. Then he also has a 60% chance of placing a 50% decrease attack on targets who receive the provoke debuff from this skill. His damage scales off HP, and he is a HP based champion. And then he's got 2 passives. So his first passive, whenever this champion is attacked, heals all allies by 50% of the damage received. Only heals by 25% of the damage received from bosses. His other passive, when attacked, places a leech debuff on the attacker for 2 turns. If the attacker is under a provoke debuff placed by this champion, also has a 75% chance of increasing the cooldown of a random skills by 2 turns. He's then got an accuracy aura in all battles by 40. So where are we using good old Vogoth? So on the Hell Hades website, he is rated 4.5 out of 5. So that is incredibly high for an epic. There's only a few what are rated 4.5 out of 5 in the game. So where can we use Vogoth? What we saying? We're saying 4 stars in Clan Boss, 4 stars in Hydra, 3 stars in Amius. He got 5 stars for Doom Tower and Iron Twins. He's not so great in Sand Devil and the Shogun's Grove. Solid across all normal dungeons, so 4 star for Spider and Dragon, 5 star for Fire Knight and Ice Golem. Hard mode, he's a little bit weaker. He's getting a 3.5 star in Ice Golem, and that is about it. And then Doom Tower bosses, 4.5 star for Magma Dragon. He's no good at Nether Spider, Scarab King or Dark Fae. Well, he gets 2 stars. It's not the greatest, but it's not the worst. 5 star for Celestial Griffin, 5 star for Dreadhorn, Eternal Dragon, then a 4 star rating for the Frost Spider. He's also got a 4 star rating there for Arena. So yeah, he is pretty much great across every area of the game if you pick this guy up earlier on your account, apart from these 2 newer dungeons here and then a couple of the Doom Tower bosses. So yeah, build Vogoth out if you pick him up early on in the game. Next up, we are headed to the Orcs faction, and that is for Seer, the Void epic Seer. I'm still actually waiting for a Seer on any account. Never pulled one. Never pulled one. Yeah, damn, I need a Seer. So what's she get up to? A1, attacks one enemy, has a 15% of getting an extra turn. A2 places a 30% increased crit rate buff on all allies for 2 turns. Then places a 25% weaken debuff on all enemies for 2 turns. The A3, this is where she's good at clearing waves, removes all buffs from allies and enemies, then attacks all enemies. Damage increases according to the number of buffs removed. She also has a 50% chance of placing a sleep debuff on all enemies for 1 turn. The chance of placing a sleep debuff increases by 5% for each buff removed, so she inflicts less damage to bosses, and this scales off enemy max HP. Then her aura, she's got increases ally resistance in all battles by 40. So where is Seer best optimized? So again, Seer is rated 4.5 out of 5 by the HAVES website. Again, a great champion. So where are we using her? Got 2 stars for Clan Boss, so not so great. 4 stars for Hydra, not so great for Amius. 5 stars for Doom Tower. 3 stars for Iron Twins, 2.5 for Shogun's Grove, 2 for Sand Devil. Great across the most of the normal dungeons. 3 star for Spider, 5 for Fire Knight, Dragon and Ice Golem. And then hard mode, 1 star for Fire Knight, so not great in there. And then 5 stars for Spider, Dragon and Ice Golem. Got an arena rating of 3.5 stars. And then Doom Tower, she is pretty much solid across the board. So we got 3.5 for Magma Dragon. We got 4.5 for the Nether Spider and Dark Fae. And we got 4 stars for Celestial Griffin and the Dreadhorn. And then she's sort of average for Scarab King and Frost Spider. And then 3 stars for the Eternal Dragon. So yeah, you can pretty much use her anywhere in the game, I would say, apart from hard mode, Fire Knight, Clan Boss, Amius, and the Sand Devils. Anywhere else, an absolute beast. So yeah, if you're lucky enough to pick her up early or mid game, unlike me, I'm still waiting the years on, then build her out. Next up, we're heading back to the Undead Hordes, and that is for Seeker. Again, another great epic. So what's he get up to? A1, attacks an enemy 2 times. Has a 25% chance, up to 30, 40, 50% chance of placing a provoked debuff for 1 turn. His A2 fills a turn meter of all allies by 30%, then places a 50% increase attack buff on all allies for 2 turns, then gets an extra turn. So he's great if you pick him up early to be your speed booster in Arena. And that's all his skills, that's all he does. And then he's got a passive. So on his passive, he's got heals his champion by 20% of HP and places a 60% increased defense debuff on all allies for 2 turns when hit with a critical hit. So he just pops up increased defense across the board if he's hit with a crit. And then for his aura, he increases all ally defense in arena battles by 30%. So yeah, not a bad arena champion. So where else can we use Seeker in the game? So Seeker is rated 4 out of 5 on the HAVES website. Again, another strong rating. All these guys are rated highly throughout the game. So where can you use Seeker? So he's got 5 stars for Clan Boss. So if you pick him up early, get him in your Clan Boss team. He's okay for Hydra, got 3 stars, and he's got 4 stars for Doom Tower. He's not so great at Amius, Iron Twin, Sand Devil, and Shogun's Grove, so all the new dungeons and bosses. He's got 4 stars across the board for dungeons, so can be great in any of the original dungeons. And hard mode dungeons, he's probably not so great at Fire Knight, but he's like mid across the board for Spider, Dragon, and Ice Golem. He gets a 4-star rating out of 5 in Arena, and then in Doom Tower bosses, he's got 5 stars for the Magma Dragon, so he's good for Magma. He's good for the Frost Spider at 3.5 stars, and he's pretty much good across the board for Nether Spider, Griffin, Dark Fae, and Eternal Dragon, 3 stars out of 5. And then you wouldn't use him probably in Scarab or the Dreadhorn. So yeah, can be used pretty much in most areas of the game effectively. So yeah, another great epic to build out if you haven't already. So next up on the list, we have got one of my favorite epics in the game, and we are going to the Ogrin tribes, and that is Uugo. So Uugo is an absolute beast, and I think actually you can get her right from the start in the majority of cases these days, because most people who have download links, you normally get Uugo, and she is great. So A1, attacks an enemy, has a 35% chance of placing a leech debuff for 2 turns. The chance increases by 5% for each enemy alive. So there's 4 enemies out there, you get a 55% chance placing a leech. For A2, great skill. Great skill. AoE has a 75% chance, books up to 100% chance of placing a 60% decreased defense debuff for 2 turns, and also has a 50% chance of placing a block buffs. That books up to 75% chance, and And then the chance of placing the block buff increases by 5% for each enemy alive. So if you go first, 75% books out, you get the mastery. That's a sniper, I think it is. You get an extra 5%. That takes you to 80%. Then if you're going first and all 4 enemies are still alive, you're getting a 100% chance for decreased defense and block buffs. So then the A3 removes all heal reduction debuffs from all allies, then removes 1 random debuff from all allies also. So basically like a mini cleanse. Then heals all allies by 20% of this champion's max HP. If all allies are dead, revives them with 50% HP, then fills their turn meters by 50% instead. So nice little revive there if she's the last one standing. So you want to build her tanky so she's last one to drop. So then she can just pop the whole team back up. So her passive places a 30% increased speed buff and a block damage buff on this champion for 1 turn whenever this champion's last living ally is killed. So yeah, you want her tanky and last one standing. Puts out the increased speed, block damage, and then you go into this skill and then pop the whole team back up. So yeah, where are we going to be using Uugo within the game? So the HH Gaming website rates Uugo 4 out of 5. So again, another strong rating there. And we'll be using Uugo. She's pretty much solid look across the board. So we've got 3.5 stars for Clan Boss, got 5 stars for Hydra, 3 stars for Amius, not so great for Doom Tower. I don't know why. When I did the Hell Hades free-to-play challenge, she was great in Doom Tower for way-based content, decreased defense and block buffs across the board. I don't know why that's so low. And then if you look, her Doom Tower bosses scores aren't that bad either, so I don't get why that's half a star. That should be way higher. That should be way higher. Iron Twins 3, Sand Devil 3, Shogun 3, so pretty strong there. And then excels in all normal dungeons. 4.5 star Spider, 4.5 star Dragon, Ice Golem, then 4-star Fire Knight. And she's pretty good in hard mode as well, so 3.5 stars for Spider, Dragon, 3 stars for Ice Golem, then probably not so great for Fire Knight hard. Yeah, I don't get why that's half stars. Half a star for Doom Tower. Like, I really don't. So she's great for, like, most of the Doom Tower bosses, look. So she get 4 stars for Magma Dragon, 4 stars for Eternal Dragon, 4.5 stars for Celestial Griffin, 3 stars for Nether Spider, Dark Fae, 2.5 stars for Scarab King. So she's only, her worst area in Doom Tower is the Dreadhorn boss. So she's pretty good for all the bosses apart from Dreadhorn, but then gets rated half a star for Doom Tower. But I would say she's half decent for wave-based content. The AoE, decreased defense and block buffs, heals, mini cleanse, revive, leech on the A1. So yeah, I don't get that one. That's strange. So yeah, if you're starting an account these days or your early game, you should have an Uugo by using a download link, because there's a lot out there. So she should be one of your first champions. You are leveling out to 60 straight away. So you're not your first, but I'll be one of the ones pretty soon after, depending on your champion pool. Yeah, I'm still baffled by that. Still baffled. Anyway, moving on. So next up on the list, we are going to the Dark Elves, and that is Madame Serris. So another champion I still have not got. I've still not got a Madame Serris. Yeah, what a joke. I've still not got Seer and this chick here. Still waiting. So what's she up to? We got an A1. Attacks one enemy, has a 20% chance of placing a fear debuff for 1 turn. This chance increases to 30% if the target is under 1 debuff, and then increases to 45% chance if the target is under 2 or more debuffs. So it's okay. It's okay, I suppose. The A2, AoE, attacks all enemies, has a 40% chance of stealing 1 random buff from each target. She then places a block debuffs on all allies for 2 turns if any buff is stolen. Then places a true fear debuff for 1 turn on enemies who have buffs stolen. So that's not a bad skill, actually. Not a bad skill. And then on her A3, removes all buffs from enemies, so she can take stone skin off people. Then places a 50% decreased attack debuff and a 60% decreased defense debuff on all enemies for 2 turns. She's great for arena. Great for arena if you get her early on. Basically the similar move to Stag Knight, but she gets the chance to remove all buffs from enemies. Great skill. Then her passive places a shield buff on this champion equal to 10% of their max HP at the start of each turn. When attacked while under a shield buff, has a 35% chance of placing a fear debuff on the attacker for 2 turns. So she got fears popping off everywhere. So right, where are we going to be using Madame Serris? So what we saying? Hell Hades website rates Madame Serris 4 out of 5. So again, another strong rating. And where can she be used? So we've got 4 stars for Clan Boss, 4 stars for Hydra, 4 stars for Amius, 4 stars for Doom Tower. So great in all those areas. She's about average for Iron Twins, Sand Devil, and then got 3 stars for Shogun's Grove. Pretty strong in all dungeons, 4 stars for Spider, Dragon, 3.5 stars for Fire Knight, 4.5 stars for Ice Golem. Pretty weak in hard mode Fire Knight, not so strong in hard mode Dragon, good in Spider hard and good in Ice Golem hard. 4 stars for Arena. And then Doom Tower bosses, we got 3.5 stars for Magma Dragon, Never Spider, Eternal Dragon. 4 stars for Dark Fae and Scarab King. Frost Spider, a 3-star with a Celestial Griffin. Then she's average for the Dreadhorn. So yeah, pretty much you can use her across the board there. Her worst rating is the 1-star hard mode Fire Knight and Dragon. But then she's average or extremely good everywhere else. So yeah, you get her early, build her out, but I'm still waiting all this time, and I've pulled quite a few void shards actually, still not picked her up or a Seer up. So yeah, they've just eluded me somehow. So the final two, and again we're heading back to the Dark Elves, and that is for Dark Kael, and you're getting through Doom Tower normal secret rooms. So he's rated quite highly. That's why I've chucked him in here. So his A1 attacks one enemy 3 times. Each hit has a 25% chance, looking up to 35% chance. Instantly activate 2 poison debuffs, or 1 poison and a 1 HP burn debuff. So instantly explodes them. And then his A2 attacks all enemies AoE, has a 75% chance, looks up to 100% chance of placing a decreased attack. Each critical hit also has a 75% chance of increasing the duration of all debuffs on the target by 1 turn. So yeah, not a bad A2 there. And his A3 has a 75% chance of placing 3 poison debuffs and a 25% poison sensitivity debuff for 2 turns. So that books up to 100% chance for the poisons and a 50% chance for the poison sensitivity. So yeah, that's quite a bit of poison stacking up there. And then when he hits with his A1, he's obviously exploding 2 of those poisons at a go. Then his passive decreases the crit rate of enemies under 2 or more poisons by 15%. And then if there's multiple champions on the team with the same skill, only 1 will activate. So yeah, not a bad hit there for Dark Kael. So where are we using this guy when we eventually pick him up? So yeah, the Hell Hades website rates him 4.5 out of 5. That is extremely strong for an epic. Where does he excel at? And he's got pretty solid ratings, look, across the board. Clan Boss 5 out of 5. Doom Tower 5 out of 5. Hydra 3.5 out of 5. Amius, he's about average for. Iron Twins 4.5 out of 5. Sand Devil 3.5 out of 5. He's not so great at Shogun's Grove. He's okay for Arena. Normal mode dungeons, ridiculously strong across the board. 4.5 star for Spider and Fire Knight. 5 star for Dragon and Ice Golem. Hard mode, strong for Spider, 3.5 stars. Okay for Fire Knight at 3 stars. Ridiculously strong for Dragon at 5 stars and strong for Ice Golem at 4 stars. So solid across the board. Then Doom Tower bosses, 4 star for Magma, 4 star for Celestial Griffin, 4 star for the Eternal Dragon, Dark Fae. So yeah, pretty strong across the board. 4.5 stars for the Frost Spider, and he's got 3 stars for Scarab, Never, and the Dreadhorn. So yeah, you could literally use him across the board, maybe excluding Shogun's Grove, and you could probably exclude him from your Amius team as well, but you can still take him if you've got nothing else. So yeah, he is strong everywhere in the game, and he's okay for Arena. So yeah, not a bad champion indeed. Not a bad champion. So the final one for you guys, the final one, and another one of my favorite champions, well, epic champions, and that is the Dwarf Demytha. So I picked up Demytha really early on my main account, and I actually bought, I think it was only like 6, 7, maybe 8 void shards to corrupt. So I was just short when she was a guaranteed. So what's she get up to? A1 attacks one enemy 2 times. Each hit places a shield buff for 2 turns equal to 10% of this champion's max HP on the ally with the lowest HP, except this champion. So on her A2, increases the duration of all ally buffs by a turn, then decreases the duration of all ally debuffs for 1 turn. So she basically got a mini cleanse and then extends your debuff. So she's used in a Wixwell Infinity Shield team for Clan Boss. Also heals all allies by 2.5% of their max HP. Heals by a further 2.5% max HP for each turn added or removed from the duration of buffs and debuffs. So fairly good skill. Fairly good skill indeed. And then the A3 places a block damage buff on all allies for 1 turn and a 15% continuous heal buff on all allies for 2 turns. So again, she is used for unkillable comps in Demon Lord. And then she got an aura, increases ally defense in all battles by 20%. So where else can we use this Dwarf Demytha. And again, another epic with a 4.5 rating out of 5. I think there's only a handful was rated that highly in the game for an epic. And you can use Demytha in 5 stars for Clan Boss, 4 stars for Hydra, 3 stars for Amius. What? I don't get why she's only half a star for Doom Tower. Because look at her ratings for the bosses. I don't get that. So we got 5 stars for Iron Twins, 4 stars for Sand Devil. She's average for the Shogun's Grove. Normal dungeons, 4.5 stars across the board. So great in all dungeons. Hard mode dungeons, again, above average for Spider and Fire Knight, and then good for Dragon and Ice Golem. 3.5 stars for Arena, so pretty strong in Arena. So then we got 4.5 stars for Magma Dragon, Nether Spider, Eternal Dragon, Frost Spider. So exceptionally good for those 4 bosses, sorry. And then we got 3 stars for Dreadhorn, Scarab, and Dart Fae. So strong in them as well. And then underwhelming in the Celestial Griffin. So that's the only place that probably isn't best utilized is Celestial Griffin, Doom Tower, and maybe the Shogun's Grove, but she's about average for that. I just don't get this Doom Tower rating of half a star when she's solid on all the bosses, and then she would be pretty good for wave base. Alright, she doesn't do no damage, but she extends your buffs, removes debuffs, puts out block damage, continuous heals. I don't get the half star rating. Yeah, I don't get that. She might not be like amazing in Doom Tower ways, but she could at least be like 2.5, maybe a 3. I don't know how that's worked out, but no idea. Anyway, that is everything for my top 10 epics to build out in 2025 for you guys. So live draw will be happening in tomorrow's video, I think it'll be. So Sunday's video. Anyway, I hope you're having a great weekend, and I will catch you in the next one.